Hey everybody, welcome to yet another video critique. This time we're going to be looking at Marilyn Harrison's work, and as always we're going to evaluate the images for images, or as images I should say, and then we're going to look at how they fulfill the requirements of the assignment. This is a little bit of a shorter assignment in terms of shooting, so I'll try and make the video a little bit shorter. Plus, since you guys have been watching a ton of videos from me in the last few days, well, a ton being a total of 6, I guess. Anyway, I'll try and keep it short and sweet because I don't want to take up all your time. So we're going to start off here with this horse figurine. And having read Marilyn's written portion of the assignment where she talked about this, she said one of her goals here was to be fairly subtle. So let's look at this. I'm actually going to zoom in here just a touch. So I want to see, just get a little look at some of the details here. Ugh. Okay, so looking at the original and copy one here, what I'm seeing is this one looks a little bit lighter in terms of exposure and a little bit brighter. See, maybe a little bit more saturated, like these colors to me look a little brighter. So I mean, I could actually flip over here and look because she actually left really good notes. This is actually really nice. I appreciate this here. So, she wrote down exactly what she did. So for the first one, these are the adjustments that you did for hue, saturation, and luminance. And so, yep. Well, what I'm seeing here is pretty consistent with what she's got there. Bumped up the saturation on the red and knocked it down on the orange and yellow. A little bit on the green. Okay. So it's going to be kind of a subtle thing, but red's going to tend to warm it up, although getting rid of this much orange and yellow is a lot of times, like if you're bumping up red but getting rid of yellow, you're gonna, well, obviously it's gonna get more red, but I mean it's also red and yellow together are a lot of what makes your images look warmer. So desaturating or saturating some of the reds and desaturating some of the yellows will partially make it warmer, and then they'll make it warmer and more into the red spectrum, and then obviously less into the yellow. But you can see here a lot of hue adjustments on all of these, really, and a lot of saturation adjustments. Let's flip back over and see here. So, yep, you can definitely see. That's funny because this actually on my screen looks more yellow here, but that's not just a saturation thing. That's probably also having to do with the hue. And then here, obviously, more of a subtle change here. Definitely a bigger change here. Getting rid of a lot of those yellows and oranges. Keeping the reds. There's a lot of desaturating here. And then just some hue adjustments. And obviously some luminance too. So I'm actually going to zoom out here again. Alright, so let's go down to the next group. And again, we have, there's some changes that are fairly obvious and some that are more subtle. Like obviously, just looking at between here and here, this has or I should say this has a lot more of that red in it. And this, what's yellow there is almost kind of green here. I'm thinking maybe some cyan? I mean, this looks more cyan to me. And then a lot of blue there. And then this is kind of, they're all kind of interesting, subtle shifts, which is okay. Sometimes, like what I get a lot of people doing is they'll make the first one a subtle, fairly subtle, and the second one more of a drastic one. And that's actually totally fine. I'm going to take a look at this last one here too. Okay, so this, oops, is probably the most subtle of the three. Like this and this are have a lot of similarities. Let's just zoom in here. So I would say on this one you want to go probably a little tighter, because I feel like this is more of a distracting element than it is something that's sort of adding to the overall composition. I feel like the image is right in here. So probably what you want to do here is go tighter to just outside there. If it's possible to take like a half step to the right, you can probably get rid of some of this in the background. And then maybe just a little bit shallower depth of field on this. But yeah, tighter and shallower so that the viewer's focus is really on this like angel figure here. So I feel like some of this is getting a little bit distracting in the background. And I think overall this exposure is just a little bit underexposed. I think maybe what's happening is there's a lot of elements that are sort of above the mid-tone range. So you know, like all this, the background. It's possible that your meter just got a little bit tricked in terms of like, you know, where the correct exposure was. You know, but in a scene with a predominance of lighter elements, it can get fooled. Which is the nice thing if you guys aren't using your handheld meters. You definitely should, because your TTL, your through the lens metering can get thrown off by something like this, whereas your handheld meter will tend to be much more accurate. So yeah, the difference between here and here is kind of subtle. I'm just picking up more of these green and blue elements here, really becoming more apparent. And in between there and there, this actually, you can see like this. I don't look here. This, yeah, I feel like because you're shooting in the shade here, you're kind of picking up a blue color cast, and then with the way that this is shot, it's still kind of there. And then with this, you can really see that, you know, that blue, a lot of the blue has gone away, and you still have the greens here. You still have sort of this. This is actually, I think this is an improvement over this. Now, I think some of the blues and greens that you're sort of picking up here, that you're sort of adjusting with hue and saturation, is probably just slightly bumping up the blue color cast here, and then desaturating those has really sort of gotten rid of that cast, which is good. This is actually quite a bit, I'd say a big improvement here. Again, yeah, I would say just tighter. You know, this, I feel like this is a little bit of a distracting element, and this is a little bit of a distracting element. So you either, I would say you need to either go tighter, so it's like right in here, or you need to go just a little bit wider, so that these elements, I think that maybe they feel a little bit like, you know, sort of distracting elements partially because they're right on the edge, and so they're partially leading sort of the viewer's eye off here and off here. So you either need to make it a little wider and kind of try and incorporate them as visual elements, or you need to make it tighter and just get rid of them. So let's talk most successful and least successful images. So I would say that I think that this is probably the most successful. I feel like the hue, saturation, and luminance adjustments that you made here sort of really were effective in terms of sort of making this a warmer image, making this more of like warmer, and just if the mood, like the change in mood feels like it benefits the content here, because this feels like sort of a warm thing to shoot, like warm subject matter. This I also like. Yeah, I mean, I feel like I sort of went over it, but I like the sort of change in the palette here. I feel like this is a nice, like these colors really sort of complement each other well. Least successful, I would probably say, is this. I feel like both of these are an improvement, both in terms of setting the mood and in terms of here of just getting rid of that color cast. In terms of, yeah, I think that really covers it in terms of sort of the goal of the assignment was to affect mood, and I feel like you did that fairly well here. Obviously it was subtle, and that was what you were going for, and I think that it was effective. For our word, right, because it's the end of the video, so the word I would like you to post beneath here is flashlight, because once again, looking around the room and I see a flashlight. I should probably like plan these more ahead, like the word that I'm more focused on, like, oh, well, let me, let's do the critique, and then at the end it's kind of like, oh yeah, I probably should have done that. So flashlight, F-L-A-S-H-L-I-G-H-T. So yeah, thank you for watching this video, and look for the next two coming very soon.